Hello and welcome to the Luv Doc podcast with hosts Waldo Wachewski and Ophelia Bruschi.
Today, we're tackling a really challenging situation in relationships.
Yeah, it's about what happens when one partner loses their job and things get, well, pretty negative, blaming the other person specifically.
Yeah. And our source for this is a letter to an advice column. The writer calls herself the emasculator, which, tells you a lot right there. She's looking for guidance.
And the core problem is this. Her boyfriend, recently laid off from a tech job, seems depressed, but he's reacting really badly when she tries to support him.
Right, accusing her of emasculating him, partly because she earns more, and infantilizing him with suggestions. It's a tough spot.
It really is. So our mission today for you readers is to unpack this complexity, understand the dynamics, and maybe find some insights for navigating these kinds of challenges, especially around job loss and, well, fragile masculinity.
Okay, let's really dig into what the emasculator is saying first. She paints a picture of her boyfriend post-layoff. Depressed, yes, but also disrespectful.
Withdrawn, too, right? She mentions the silent treatment.
Yeah, exactly. Any attempt she makes offering advice, even just encouragement, gets met with name-calling or just silence for days sometimes.
Right. Wow. And the specific accusation is key here. He blames her for his bad behavior.
He actually says she emasculates him because she earns more, which was true even before he lost his job.
And that her suggestions feel like she's treating him like a child, infantilizing him. That's a really potent mix of resentment.
You can really feel her confusion in the letter. She says she's at her wit's end because she feels like she hasn't actually been harsh or mean. Her intent is support.
It sounds like she's genuinely baffled by his reaction and, frankly, exhausted by it, which, for readers who've been there, is probably very relatable.
And it's important to note, she didn't just let it fester. She actually initiated a talk.
Right. She told him they needed to communicate about this or the relationship might be over. That's a big step.
Very proactive. So that's her side. Now, the Luv Doc take is, well, it starts with some surprise.
Yeah. He seems almost taken aback by this idea that earning less would make a man feel emasculated.
He shares his own experience, saying his wife has always earned more, and it's like never been an issue for him personally, doesn't feel emasculating at all.
And then he goes off on these funny, kind of tangential thoughts, like imagining how a super butch billionaire tech bro might see it, or comparing it to Duck Dynasty somehow.
It's a bit out there. He's trying to grapple with this mindset, maybe showing how varied ideas of masculinity are.
Possibly. Then there's this whole elaborate scenario he spins about Austin.
Oh, yeah. The van down by the river bit, but like updated for Austin's crazy expensive riverfront property.
And he throws in this hypothetical Elon Musk development way past that Nazi camp out by Bastrop. It's specific.
Very specific, with comments about East Austin real estate and libtard cucks. It's definitely edgy commentary. We're just reporting what the Luv Doc wrote here, of course.
Absolutely. And he even jokes about wanting a comedy club there and mentions Dogecoin. It's a wild ride.
There's also this undercurrent of cynicism about current political figures. He mentions a bloviating shitbag president, a sycophantic fluffer vice president, and others in some pretty colorful terms. Again, just relaying the columnist's words.
It seems like he's using all this as a backdrop to suggest maybe there's a lack of solid male role models influencing the boyfriend's perspective.
But then he pivots. He moves away from all that specific commentary towards something more useful, I think.
Right. He shifts to talking about real role models, regardless of gender.
And his main point, effective, admirable people just get shit did. That's his phrase. It's about action, not complaining.
It's a strong statement. He says, nobody's erecting statues for pouty, whiny, sad sacks who are always trying to blame someone else for their own misfortune.
Adds a little dig about those statues maybe ending up overlooking a driving range down in Lajitas if they did exist.
Yeah. It's a really direct challenge to that victim mentality he perceives in the boyfriend's reaction.
Holy crap. You're psychotically obsessed with the Luv Doc, but can't think of a flashy gauche way to share your obsession with the world? Stop thinking and make a beeline for the Luv Doc's home sweet home on the interwebs, thepleasurecraft.com, where you can find a veritable treasure trove of sick merch that will make even your coolest friends super gel. Honestly, I don't know why you didn't already think of this yourself, but you're welcome. Have fun on the Pleasure Craft. It was made just for you. Let me spell it out for you one more time. www.thepleasurecraft.com.
So, after all that, the anecdotes, the commentary, what's the actual advice for the emasculator? What can she do?
Well, his core advice is pretty stark. He says, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
His reasoning is, look, neither she nor he can, get inside the boyfriend's skin, find him a job, or magically fix his self-esteem.
He uses a memorable image from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to illustrate how impossible and wrong that would be.
Exactly. Trying to force change from the outside just doesn't work, and it's not her responsibility.
Okay, but surely there's something she can do. He doesn't just leave it there, does he?
No, he clarifies. The one thing she can and should do is tell her boyfriend how she feels about his behavior.
Okay. Focus on her own experience and boundaries.
Precisely. He acknowledges the boyfriend has a right to his feelings, depression, sulkiness, whatever. That's valid.
What?
But he doesn't have the right to take it out on her, to blame her or treat her disrespectfully. That's the line.
And what about help? Does he suggest therapy or anything?
He does mention that, yeah. He acknowledges professional mental health help might be needed for the depression.
But there's a catch, I assume.
The catch is, it has to be the boyfriend's decision. He has to want the help and seek it out himself. She can't drag him there.
That makes sense. You can lead a horse to water and all that.
Exactly. It's a tough reality for partners wanting to help, but ultimately, the choice is his.
So this brings us to that tricky balance, right?
Yeah.
Support versus enabling.
Yeah.
Or just setting boundaries.
Right. The Luv Doc talks about positivity and encouragement. He says it's valuable, sure, but it needs to be sincere.
And not constant.
Yeah, he warns against becoming a full-time cheerleader. He suggests that can be exhausting for the supporter and, honestly, pretty ineffective if the other person isn't receptive.
It can feel hollow after a while, I imagine.
Totally. So the Luv Doc basically circles back and says the listener, the emasculator, is actually on the right track by doing what she did.
By communicating her feelings, setting that boundary. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the constructive path. Offering support, yes, but not at the expense of her own well-being and not by accepting blame or disrespect.
And the final piece for the boyfriend. What does the Luv Doc say he needs to do?
He needs some serious soul-searching. He has to figure out who he is, define himself, separate from his job title or, frankly, his partner's income or opinion.
Find his worth internally, not based on external stuff.
Precisely. That's the journey he needs to take to deal with this job loss and, rebuild his self-esteem in a healthy way.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you, our readers. The big takeaway seems to be that, look, it's natural to want to fix things for a partner who's struggling, especially with something huge like job loss.
But ultimately, their emotional recovery, their path to finding their footing again, that's their own journey. Your ability to directly make them better is limited.
What you can control is your own response.
Yeah.
Clear, honest communication about how you feel and what you need is vital.
Yeah, like the emasculator did. Setting boundaries is crucial. The responsibility lies with the struggling partner to manage their emotions and actions, not to lash out.
So maybe the final thought for you readers is this. When you're supporting someone through a really tough time, how do you offer that genuine compassion and help without accidentally enabling destructive patterns or losing yourself in the process?
It's about finding that balance between support and self-preservation, isn't it? Thinking about your own boundaries, your own needs, even while you're trying to be there for someone else. Something to definitely keep reflecting on in any relationship.
Definitely. Thanks for exploring this complicated situation with us today.
To read the column that spawned this podcast, go to austinchronicle.com/columns/the Luv Doc. There are probably worse things to do with your time, right?